And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
There were several games that came out at Essen 2010 that had to do with winemaking. So far, Toscana is the only one that I've played. I really like the artwork, the art style, the color of this game. It's very interesting. The theme is basically you're buying wine and selling wine, and you're trying to get the most money by knowing when to buy and when to sell. Buy low, sell high. That's the game. Unfortunately, while the game is bright and cheerful and looks all interesting, to me it kind of just fell flat. There wasn't really much there. The theme is interesting, the presentation is nice, but the game itself just felt like it dragged out a little bit long for what it was, and I didn't feel like I had as many options as I could have. Let's take a closer look at the game. As you can see, the whole board has kind of a garish flavor to it. Over here are the wine fields, and they're pre-printed on the board, which is how they have the game set up. But if you want, you can put these little tiles on and set them up so that you have basically a random style board. Although it's really not that random. But hey, you know, it is a neat thing. Keeps you from doing the same board all the time. What players are going to be doing is they're going to be putting these wine testers out here in the field, and they're going to be working in the different wine fields. You see this wine field produces the pink wine, red wine, white wine, the green wine. These fields produce nothing unless you happen to have two workers in them. Then they produce anything you want. And then these fields produce workers. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to get people to work in these fields so that you can produce the different wines that you can sell. The game focuses around the different kinds of wines and water. And here you can see that there's prices of the wine and the water, and they go up and down. And there's two numbers on the bottom here because you can always buy it for 1. It will, even if it sells for 0, you still have to pay 1 when you're buying it. And so what this game is, in essence, is you are trying to buy low and sell high. That's basically it. Whoever has the most money at the end of the game is going to win. You can see up here are trends, market trends. At the top, these can be moved around, and it shows how the price for that item is going to go up or down. Each player has a player board, and on their player board, they have some workers that they can hire, and they have 3 discs during each round of the game. A player chooses one of these discs and plays it. Everyone takes a turn, then he comes back and chooses another one. So you take all 3 of these actions, but the order in which you take them is up to you. The first action is buying workers. You can pay a box of red wine and stick another worker out in the field, or eventually you'll be able to put out these wine testers. They're better than workers. They're basically a double worker, and they cost white wine to get out in the field. You can also pay play testers or wine critics to maneuver the prices of the market a little bit to how you want them to be maneuvered. Another thing that you can do is you can buy or sell at the stock market. Now, you can only ever buy one thing, but you can sell or buy that item, again, at the current prices that are there. And then finally, you can wine make. Now, here's where water comes in handy, and everyone will be using water to, whenever you have, for example, a guy here, and I pay a water, well then if there's 2 of them, they'll produce 1 box of my choice. So I put the water token here on the corner. So if I had a worker here and 2 workers here, I would get 1 box of red wine and then 1 box of whatever I wanted. And that's how it works. So you can even use water to get more water. And those are basically the 3 actions. You'll do them over and over again for the 5 different rounds of the game, trying to sell the most, and at the end of the game, whoever has the most points, they've made the most money, basically wins. At the end of the game, you'll sell all your leftover wine, and whoever has the most wins. One more thing, between the rounds, the prices fluctuate between each round. And that depends on these up here. Okay, that's all well and good. Players also have a stack of tiles, and they draw 2 of these tiles, and they have to play one of them. And when they play it, everyone will play it, and then the prices are adjusted accordingly. This adds 1 to the price of the pink wine, this subtracts 1 from the price of the green wine. And then the prices go up or down depending on if it's full, the price goes down. If it's empty, the price goes up, so on. Okay, I like those, but these tiles, I don't really get it. It just seems forced to me, because you have to play all of them over the course of the game. Over all the different rounds, you're going to eventually play all the tiles, and I don't really see what the point is. Why would you be forced to strategically make the price of the wine that you want to sell go down. I don't know. It just that didn't mesh real well for me. Now, I don't drink wines. Maybe if you did, that would have some kind of bearing on to whether you like this game or not. And I did say I really do enjoy the bright splash of colors that this game is. Some of the ideas are interesting. I think it's hilarious how the price of water is often quite higher than several of the wines because water comes in handy. But in the end, it's just another stock market game, and it doesn't seem to have any kind of hook. I think that would be the word for it. As you know, I like putting the workers out in the field and getting the goods, but I didn't feel like there was any real strategy moves that you can make. You can decide to do something, and if you're playing with 3 or 4 other players, by the time it's your turn again, the prices can completely change. Now, I realize this is how stock market games go. Maybe I should say this game lacks excitement. I enjoyed playing it. I guessed it was pleasurable, but by the time we got to the 5th turn, it was like, come on. I've done the same thing. I got a few boxes of red wine. I'm going to sell these few boxes for a couple dollars more. So, I don't really care for the game that much. I mean, it's not a horrible game, pleasant experience, but there's nothing here that was really different than other games of the same kind of genre.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.